The United States is not and will never be at war with Islam.
The future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam.
There's a 30-minute city council report up on Infowars.com that we're going to play some excerpts of at the start of the next hour that deals with this tragedy. Report: 3 Syrian refugees rape little girl at knife point in Idaho. Furious residents accuse council of cover-up. Now, watching the city council meeting, reading the transcript of it from Twin Falls, it's clear the same thing that's happened in Austin has happened there. Once a bastion of libertarian patriots, it has been overrun by carrion crows or locusts that had already destroyed California that are now moving on to the next apple. But what you find in the city council meeting is they've been approving a mosque in a week when they won't even approve someone putting in new windows on their home under Agenda 21 to harass the citizens. So you can't have new windows or fix your barn. It takes months and months and fees and fines and harassment. But the refugees come in, an undetermined secret number, and their mosque is bingo. It's allowed because, you know, the Saudis are giving them the money. This is all from the White House through the Saudis, all wired up, all prepared, all set up, all ready. They bring them in. You got people from cultures where if a woman is unattended, whether they be 6 years old or 50, you can gang rape them. And when you gang rape them, later, if they complain about it, they're taken before the High Islamic Council, if it's in Saudi Arabia or other Wahhabist areas, and they are given the death sentence. They are hung or their head is chopped off, or they're given to their families and ordered to be burned alive. Gasoline is then thrown on them in the backyard, and the father and the sons light her on fire. Now, that's a fact. But it's okay. Homeland Security is editing out the 911 tapes of the mass murderer in Orlando and covering up for his accomplices, saying there's no such thing as Islamic terror. And the 911 tapes will not have him pledging allegiance to ISIS and saying more is coming, jihad, jihad, which the police heard admit is on there, but you're not going to get the chance to hear it because they don't want you to audibly hear him with the threat, we're coming to kill you. Now, again, the reason I'm obsessing over Islamic is because I tried to stop the clash of civilizations. I tried to stop the globalists destabilizing anymore, opening the borders of Europe to it. We knew their plan and doing this, but now we failed that level. Now we're here facing the onslaught. They're covering up the real numbers. That's the big story here. I bet it's over 1 million here in the U.S., folks. They were telling it was 100,000 in Germany until they admit it was 2 million there alone the last 3 years. The last 3 years in Europe, it's 5 million. So that's all going on. So they won't let people build their own houses. The citizens are all harassed, but a bunch of other people are brought in. The mosque is being built. There's hundreds of them in the town. They're bringing more in. They're going to Islamify this area with all the traitor Californians that now have come in who want governmental control and who've taken control of the city. And I want to warn you, if you're in Wyoming, if you're in Idaho, if you're in places like this, do not let the Californians, and they're not Californians, do not let the body snatchers, do not let the parasites that already took over other states and destroyed them, do not let them. Don't just sit back and let them organize and set up their groups and comply with them and, oh, we're environmental, oh, we're your friends, we mean no harm, we care about the community, we're going to get you federal funding, on and on and on. They are there to make you their prisoners and rule you. They will bring in their client populations to take control of you. And yes, when they and their minions rape your daughters, kill you, you will be called an extremist and a terrorist for even speaking. So, of course, they're covering it up, even though there's witnesses and all this. Of course, they admittedly have brought the refugees in and are letting them build a mosque in 1 week with no meetings. Of course, they're violating your rights, treating you like dog crap, because that's what the New World Order is all about. That's what this system is all about. It's all about you're a slave and the globalists are above the law. They get caviar, jumbo jets, and red carpet, and jet copters, and 5 prostitutes tonight, and you get to pay the bill, okay? Just like you pay Al Gore the carbon taxes. The bigger the joke, the more it's rubbing your face, the better for the New World Order. So that's what this comes down to. That's what these scumbags are doing. And the minute you realize it's premeditated and it's by design is the minute we'll start turning this around, whether it's Australia, Europe, the United States, or anywhere else for that matter.
This was a fabricated story with the facts altered. Clearly, Alex Jones ran by it, and you can see his sources. Two of his sources were Prison Planet and InfoWars, his website, and another website was, I believe, by another Islamophobe, but that's not the point. These people have an agenda. But let's keep analyzing a little further. The official story says it was a 7-year-old, a 10-year-old, and 13-year-old, and the two older boys weren't even involved, and a 7-year-old allegedly assaulted a 5-year-old. So I don't know where they come up with these allegations. They weren't even Syrian, and there are no Syrian refugees in Idaho. Again, Alex Jones got caught lying. He's always perpetuating lies. There's another video on my channel too. Just scroll, you'll find it. I'll leave a link in the description also. But look at how Rob Dude talks about immigrants right after. Clearly we have anti-immigrant agenda on this channel. But what about when Israel bans free speech, bans the free market? For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, the anti-BDS movement. If you support boycotting, divesting, and sanction, you will be fined, or the state will boycott you, like in New York, or in other places where they made it illegal to practice BDS. AKA boycott, divest, and sanction Israel. But did you hear Alex Jones say a peep? I mean, this guy says he's a constitutionalist, but when people are against the First Amendment, he doesn't say a word. Nothing. Only when it's non-Zionist, he'll say something. Alex Jones is a Zionist show. It's been proven, and he has his own agenda, and it's obvious who's backing up his show.
3 Syrian refugees rape little girl at knife point in Idaho. And Alex was really hitting on this morning when he was on the air live from the Caribbean. But these 3 youths, 8, 10, and 13, the oldest boy directing the site, they grabbed this little girl by knife point. They forced her into a room and basically raped this little girl. And they found her and they called the police, and it took 2 hours for the police to arrive. And they didn't take any action because of a language barrier. And we've seen this happen in traffic accidents here in Austin. David Knight got rear-ended by a guy driving a dump truck, just about, and they didn't give him a ticket because he couldn't speak English. So you don't speak English, you come to this country and you're given everything in the world. What's interesting about this? Well, one, they videotaped the entire assault on a cell phone. But the case has been officially sealed by a judge with no evidence of it being unsealed because all parties are minors. And a video of the Twin Falls City Council meeting shows irate residents demanding to know why council members have done nothing to address the alleged rape, as well as numerous other issues involving Syrian refugees being housed in the area, including hit-and-run incidents, Muslims spitting on non-Muslims. And there's reportedly around 50 refugees housed at the Fawn Brook site. And they were also grilled on how a mosque was approved just after 24 hours, whereas a new home application would take at least 2 weeks to process. In every instance, the council members claim ignorance as to the severity of the situation. And then, of course, because people brought these up, they were they had anti-Muslim prejudice. That's what their concerns were based upon. So here's a video of Terrence Edwards confronting the city council that he believes is engaging in a cover-up of a rape of the 5-year-old girl we've just been talking about. So here's that video.
We've been made aware of a situation, an alleged assault of a minor child, and we can't get any information on it. Apparently, it's been indicated that the perpetrators were 4 Muslim youth that conducted this, I guess it was a rape, and we've heard that it's consensual, but my concern is there's no such thing as consensual rape of a minor. And I think that there's a method of cover-up here in the community. I think it starts with the police department. I think that they have their mouth zipped closed. The media is not getting in on it. We get more information from KMVT than we do from the community at large and the police department. So I'm just alerting you to the fact that if you don't get your head wired to your posterior, you folks are going to be with a mic in front of your face trying to answer questions about Islam, the Quran, the Hadith, the Sunnah, and you're going to act like a bunch of morons because you don't have a clue as what's going on in this community.
Wow, man, it's very calm and collected. I can't believe that more hasn't happened thus far.
With the Boycott Israel movement, also known as Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions, or BDS, gaining momentum around the world, numerous U.S. cities have attempted to pass legislation that would make it illegal to promote economic boycotts against Israeli companies and products. In Massachusetts, the Freedom to Boycott Coalition held a protest at the state legislature yesterday when they hand-delivered a statement signed by 61 organizations from across Massachusetts condemning the proposed anti-BDS legislation. To discuss this, I'm joined now by investigative journalist Max Blumenthal, the author of Goliath, Life and Loathing in Greater Israel. Max, thank you for being here.
Good to be with you.
First of all, we don't know the status of this bill. They've been kept very mum about it in Massachusetts, but why is there so much pressure to pass something like this?
Well, it's fun to see, especially libertarian Republicans who think that corporations are people that have free speech rights actually clamp down on corporate economic rights in the case of boycotting Israel. These bills are basically resolutions at this point. They're in the declaratory phase, but it suggests where the pro-Israel lobby in the U.S. wants to go, which is the outright criminalization of all dissent against the U.S.-Israeli special relationship, which is something highly unusual. This is being driven not only by a domestic lobby that cares about the special relationship with Israel, but by the Israeli government, which is now investing government resources, Israeli taxpayer money, into the U.S. political scene to actually suppress criticism of Israel. This includes a $26 million initiative to attack online users on social media who are critical of Israel.
And how does this step over, free speech, First Amendment protection issues? I mean, shouldn't you not be allowed to at least express your dissent for something?
Yeah, and I wonder where all of the anti-PC macho free speech warriors are when criticizing Israel's concerned. None of them said anything about Stephen Salaita, the University of Illinois professor who was hired for a tenure track position and then summarily unhired when he tweeted negative things about Israel's assault on the Gaza Strip. We need to look at Europe to understand where the pro-Israel lobby is going with this in the United States. In France, activists for the BDS movement who have simply sought to organize with leaflets and so on with their speech have been called to trial and are facing criminal charges under a law that classifies promoting BDS as hate speech. In the UK, the Cameron government, the conservative Cameron government, is seeking to forbid local town councils from boycotting Israel or boycotting any company that violates human rights. And in Canada, the national government of Justin Trudeau, in a consensus vote with the Conservatives, voted for a resolution to condemn BDS. So we're going to start seeing more of this. It's not just going to be in Massachusetts.
But really, how does the BDS movement in, say, Massachusetts help accomplish its goals in the Middle East?
Well, this is really not just about undermining the economic imperatives of the Israeli occupation, which benefits handsomely from keeping Palestinians occupied, including by testing experimental weapons on the people who are living under siege in the Gaza Strip and then exporting them. This is a multi-billion-dollar business. But also, this is an educational campaign. The BDS movement is an educational campaign. When you go out and do a flash mob in Grand Central Station protesting Israel's assault on the Gaza Strip, or some Israeli product like Sabra hummus in a supermarket, people want to know about it. They want to know, what's the problem here? What is this occupation? Why are you comparing Israel to apartheid South Africa? And so the information gets distilled in a very grassroots, person-to-person way, whereas if you search out information, accurate information that's critical about Israel-Palestine in the mainstream media, it's non-existent. So that's a major threat, I think, to this special relationship.
If you boycott against Israel, New York will boycott you. If you divert revenues from Israel, New York will divert revenues from you. If you sanction Israel, New York will sanction you. Period.
Now, that's fact.
If you enjoyed the content, please hit that subscribe button. Peace.